Hey, it's the first Tony Scott internet show. Welcome. I, of course, would be Tony Scott, right? I mean, who else would I be if it's a Tony Scott internet radio show? Not even a radio show, the Tony Scott internet show. Well, then, who else would I be? Come on, man. You know the drill. You and me. There's no music. I can't afford music. You know how expensive music is to do an internet show? The bandwidth and the royalties and all that? Come on, man. I'm gonna need some commercials and support before I can get into something like that, man, because that's very, very expensive. But I do have some great stuff to tell you. A lot of stuff to talk about. Hopefully, you'll hang around. We'll get into the Rams and the Cardinals, and we'll get into Ray Rice and Adrian Peterson, Michael Brown. Lots of things happening in the world I got to share with you, so I'll have that for you on the Tony Scott Internet Show. Kind of like this track. Yes. All right, then. Let's put that away for right now. We'll use it again later on, as they say. All right. Rams lost. Rams were up like 21-0 early in the game. I mean, it seems like the Cowboys were were sucking beyond all sucktivity, if that's a word. And then they kind of woke up and started kind of inching a little closer and a little closer. And then they housed the Rams and ended up winning 34-31. Had to be a tough loss, man. I mean, you're the Rams, you know, and you lost your quarterback and you lost the backup quarterback. So now you're down to Austin Davis, who I thought did a pretty good job. But in the NFL, you cannot score 31 points and you can't lose. You can't lose. I mean, Greg Robinson's supposed to be this incredible defensive coordinator. And with a couple exceptions, they were mediocre at best, I thought, yesterday. I mean, really. Cardinals were on national TV last night, 7-2. They lose to the Reds. But they're still in first place. And the magic number, which is the magic number, if you don't know, is a combination of Cardinal wins and the second place team's losses, which in this case is Pittsburgh. Any combination of wins and losses that equals 5. The Cardinals will win the Central Division of the National League. So that seems to be pretty promising right now with just a week left, and I think it's a 2.5 game lead. But I got confidence in the Cardinals. That's my squad. All right, that's my squad. What else is going on? Ray Rice is now saying that TMZ edited the video of Inside the Elevator that they released a couple of Mondays ago. And it seems like an act of desperation, because did they edit any part of you striking the woman? Did you in fact strike the woman? Yes. It's over, man. It's a wrap. It's a wrap. I mean, it is. It is what it is. You hit this woman. You didn't hit her. You knocked her the hell out, and that is something that you just can't do. You know, and I have been on social media, emails and stuff, because I've blogged about it. I've done videos about why it's a bad move to hit a woman from a man's perspective. And there are some men, most men agree, but there are some men who just do not agree. They think, and the argument a lot of times is women want equal rights. This has nothing to do with equal rights. And let me put aside just for a second that the argument on equal rights, we'll put that to the side, but the other thing I'm going to put on the shelf too, just for a second, is that it's just wrong to hit women. That aside. But my argument is even this, fellas, you have to protect yourself. I don't mean physically. I mean from the perspective of getting yourself in trouble. Because a man will never win that battle. A man strikes a woman. Doesn't matter if she hit him first or if she, quote unquote, provoked him, which is like stupid as hell. I don't know what. Anyway, so you will always lose that battle. Always. Now, there are exceptions when your life is in danger. But I've never met a woman who could whoop my ass. Generally speaking, men can mop the floor with women physically. So knowing that, why would we have this altercation? You know, if she hit you, let me just go with your argument for a second. If she hit you with the intent of you hitting her back because she's going to get you in trouble, well, then she got you anyway, because you're going to get in trouble. You're going to go to jail. You're going to have to hire a lawyer. Okay? You're going to wear the stink of hitting women forever. you may lose your job and close off any future opportunities as far as career advancement, because these days it's not hard to find out what you're up to. There are no secrets anymore in the world. Facebook, that, and then you can, these companies, they have databases where they can vet. When it's a job, they check your references. When it's a career, you're vetted, okay? And to be vetted is something that you want to turn out good for you. But if you laid hands on a woman in a violent way, then you're going to miss out on lots of opportunities. If you do something like that, that's crazy. Ray Rice lost his job. Ray Rice may never play in the NFL again. Now, whether that's right or not, I don't know. I believe in forgiveness and I believe in redemption, but you have to earn it. But him going saying, well, TMZ edited that video, that does nothing for your redemption. If I were you, Ray Rice, I would lay low for a while. I would not give any interviews for a while. I would get some help. No one believes you had never struck that woman before. Nobody believes that at all. What people believe is you abuse women. And that's something that you have to wear around your neck. That little medal you get to wear around your neck for the rest of your life. Now, what you do with that is what's going to determine your future as far as a career. I mean, what I read is the Ravens still have to pay you $25 million. Okay, is $25 million going to take you the rest of the way? Because if it is, well, then don't worry about a job. But you probably don't want to live like a pariah. You don't want to do that. So my advice to you is to lay low for a while, get some help, assemble a team of, crisis PR people. I think you need to own what you did. I think you need to have a press conference. You need to just say, hey, you know what? I did what I did, and I'm sorry, and I'm wrong, and you may not believe me, but tell me, have women on who belong to domestic violence organizations, and ask them, what can I do? What can I do to show that I'm a changed man? Now, if you haven't changed, don't waste everybody's time. The Adrian Peterson thing is kind of interesting because people are like wondering, what gives you the right to tell me how to raise my child? I wouldn't tell you how to raise your child. I would tell you this, though, because a lot of people say, I was punished like that when I was a kid. I don't see nothing wrong with it. But how long ago was that? We can't go back to that. We just can't. We've evolved as people, and we can't hit kids with switches anymore. You can't tell me what to do. Well, no, I can't. If Adrian Peterson were a civilian and not a high celebrity, high profile athlete, would he have gotten in trouble? Honestly, probably not. There are lots of people who whip their kids with switches. At first, I thought maybe Adrian Peterson, maybe he was disciplining his child with a switch and it got out of hand. The boy raised his hands. He had defensive wounds because he raised his hands. The boy's testicles had markings on them from the whipping, which tells me that you pulled down the pants of a 4-year-old and you whipped him naked. Is that what you did? Then it comes out that he possibly could have done this to another child. But you can't tell me how to raise my child. I'm going to raise my child like I see fit. Well, you can, but if somebody turns you in, then you're going to have to even if you're not a high profile celebrity, you're still going to have to go through the system if somebody turns you in. If your child goes to school with those marks on him, and a teacher, for whatever reason, sees it, maybe he messed up his shirt, he's got to put on another shirt, or maybe, I don't know, for whatever reason, and they see that, man, they're calling the people on you. It is their obligation. It is all of our obligations when we see child abuse, when we see what we think is child abuse. It's better to ring the bell and be wrong and say, I'm sorry, than to not say nothing and find out that this child was beaten to death down the road. You're going to feel horrible, and it was the wrong thing to do. So I would imagine it's just better to be wrong, but to bring to someone's attention than to say nothing. That's just me. That's how I think. But what do you want me? What do you want from me? What do you want from me? I'm just saying. I noticed though, and I know this is not true, But I noticed that a lot of these athletes who are getting in trouble with domestic violence are African American. And let me be clear. I don't for 1 minute believe that African American athletes, not all of them, but not African, they're not the only ones beating women. I refuse to believe that. I just do not believe. I will never believe it. Just like I will never believe that most men cheat. That's the stupidest statement in the history of statements. How do you know that? Just by, you're saying most men cheat. Most men don't. Most men actually do not cheat. But do the numbers. Do the numbers. Most men don't cheat. Here's the thing on that, and then I'll get back to what I was talking about African American athletes and things like that. But when most men do not cheat, but you know what? Most men, people who do the right thing normally don't get shine. Okay? They get no kind of publicity at all. They get no recognition at all because we're doing what we're supposed to be doing. People who screw up the world and give men a bad reputation, beating, cheating, whatever, they get all the attention. They get all the attention. And women will say to me, I have women tell me, every man I know cheats. Well, then that says something about you and your circle of friends more than anything. But, that's for another time. But like I said, what I notice is these athletes that are getting in trouble, the guy who allegedly headbutted his girl because she wouldn't give him sex. Now, I don't know about you, but if a woman doesn't want to give me sex when I want it, then I don't want it from her. I want her to want me. I want her to desire me. I don't want her to just, lay there, ooh, yes, daddy, yes, papa, oh, it's talking to you. I don't want that, man. I want passion. You know what I'm saying? I want what's coming to me. No pun intended. I'm just saying, so I don't understand his logic. He headbutted his girl, and I think he broke his nose, right? And then some people will actually say, there was a report that some woman pulled a gun on her man or something like that. Okay, that's a little different. It doesn't give you the right to hit her, but if it's imminent danger, and you can make a great argument that if someone pulls a gun on you, there is imminent danger. There is. Well, then you got to do what you got to do, but you've got to be able to have evidence, man. I'm not saying you're going to pull out a phone, take a selfie, Tony. No, I'm not saying that, but you've got to be able to prove that she pulled a gun on you if you hit a woman. That's the thing, fellas. That's the thing. The best thing to do is to walk away. You walk away. You got to walk away. You can't just stay in there. And why would you get yourself involved with a woman who is violent, who has violent tendencies, who you've seen her scrap before? I have never been involved with a woman who I know for a fact scrapped with somebody. I never have. That's just not something I'm interested in. To me, women who are attractive to me are women who act like ladies. Now, am I being sexist? I don't think so. I don't have a problem with a successful woman. I wouldn't have a problem if my wife made more money than me, which she's doing right now. I wouldn't have a problem with it. That wouldn't bother me one bit. But at the same time, there are men who are intimidated by the success of a woman. There are men who believe that a woman has to know her place. In my belief, a woman stands shoulder to shoulder with me as far as I'm concerned. It is my responsibility as a husband and father, I feel, to take care of my family. That's what I believe I'm supposed to do. I mentioned to a group of people the other day, I've known my wife a long time. I don't remember ever seeing her paycheck. It's not important to me. It's not important to me at all. If whatever money she makes, if she takes it and she does something for herself, well, that's fine. Because you know what? My job is to take care of her. That's how I see it. If she's an independent woman who makes more than me and I'm still working, am I still going to take care of her? Yeah, I am. That's just me, though. I mean, I would hope that she would, not keep all the money to herself and contribute to the family. I would think that I know someone well enough to know that's how they would be. If you don't know them that well and you're marrying them, you're making one of the biggest mistakes you'll ever make in your life. We got to learn to know people that we're laying next to that were putting things in them, sex, that were marrying. How can you marry someone and not know anything, really about them? How can you do that? I filed for bankruptcy 2 years ago, and she didn't tell you. Now, she didn't. I mean, if she doesn't tell you, you don't know. But it's a game changer, though. Things like that are game changers, and we have to know. I've known people who have moved in with each other. They've been together 3 months. Seriously? There are people on probation with their jobs longer than that. I don't know, man. The world moves fast. That's the truth. The world does move fast. I've got some thoughts on Michael Brown I got to tell you about. I'll be doing that coming up next. Listen to this first, though.
Do you want to reach an audience that you haven't tapped into yet and not blow your budget? The Tony Scott Internet Show is new, growing, and available to you. And you don't have to be the third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, yes, or even eighth commercial in a commercial break like on the radio. Advertising on the Tony Scott Internet Show is extremely affordable. Contact us at advertise@TonyScottShow.com.
And we're back. It is the Tony Scott Internet Show. I don't like the music to play like a lot by itself without anybody. I think it irritates the hell out of me when I listen. I listen to a lot of podcasts and stuff, and when people let their lead-in music just play like forever, that just irritates the hell out of me. So I don't want to do that to you. But it's a way to get back into content, which is what you get from me when you listen to the Tony Scott Internet Show. Hope to do this every day, but we'll see how it goes. Give me some feedback. Let me know what you think. Michael Brown is the 18-year-old who was murdered by a Ferguson, Missouri police officer, Darren Wilson. The grand jury has been looking into this. My understanding is Darren Wilson went to the grand jury and testified. Or if that's what you call it, he's not required to. And if he did, his lawyer had to stay outside. His lawyer couldn't be in there with him to advise him of anything. This is my understanding. Now, this grand jury has been impaneled for a while, but now, we heard that they could be in session. It's a better way to put that, but you get what I'm saying, until January. Does that mean that we'll find out in January? We have to wait till January? No, we could actually find out before then. But there's lots of information that seems to indicate that at the very least, Darren Wilson has to be indicted. Witnesses all say pretty much the same thing. Darren Wilson supporters don't want to believe the witnesses because they're African American and they're looking out for their own. I'm just calling it like I see it. That's what they're thinking. So much so that they did two of the stupidest things they could possibly do. One was to have this woman, Josie, call up a talk station in St. Louis to tell what Darren Wilson's significant other told her what happened. And so she took that and called the radio station and told them this is what happened, based on a conversation with his girlfriend. And we're supposed to, so that was, to me, that was a setup. That don't even count. And then there was the picture going around of Darren Wilson in a hospital bed with his face all beaten and swollen. That wasn't Darren Wilson. Who do you think we are, Sam Sauce's head? Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I think that man murdered Michael Brown. I think he shot him in cold blood, and I think the Ferguson Police Department is just as complicit because they let that young man lay there. They let him lay there for 4 hours. 4 hours, man. 4 hours. Do you know how long 4 hours is? That's half your day at work. That's half your day at work. You work an 8-hour day. That's half of it, not counting breaks and your lunch. 4 hours they let that young man lay there dead. All indications from witnesses say, including the Channel 4 station in St. Louis, is what I saw. But I also saw it on CNN about the white guy who was working with another white guy at Canfield, at the apartment complex, or in that area where he could see what was going on. And he says, they show him on video with his hands up, like Mike Brown had his hands up, saying, "Yo, he had his hands up. What you shooting for?" Now this is a man And I think it is important in this instance to point out that he's a white man, because it needs to be pointed out, because this is a race thing. And if you don't believe that, then you don't even need to be part of the discussion. But he says he had his hands up. Why'd you shoot him? You know, and then, you know, a while back we all heard the audio tape of the guy flirting with some girl, and the gunshots in the background, the pause, and then more shots, and the company who software that was, they log things, and they say that was about the same. That was around noon on August 9th, which is around the time that Mike Brown was murdered by Darren Wilson. You know, I'm wondering, because, and here's the thing that I wonder, and I'm not trying to make anybody mad, but I noticed that over the weekend there were a couple of town hall meetings. Gwen Ifill came to town to do one on PBS. Have we had enough of the town hall meetings? And I'm not criticizing people who organized, or people who were there, or people who were up on the panel. I'm asking, have we had enough town hall meetings? Have we had enough of that? Because I don't know, maybe it's therapeutic. I don't know, but I don't see the reason for any more town hall meetings. I see reason for meetings. We need to have meetings on what's the procedure to recall Mayor James Knowles of Ferguson. I want to know what's the procedure for recalling the city council members of Ferguson who have let Ferguson, basically black Ferguson, just die on the vine. I want to know what's the procedure for getting the city manager of Ferguson, who essentially is the mayor's boss, the way government is set up. There are two types of government. One where the mayor is actually, you know, he's the boss. And then there are some smaller municipalities tend to have, like a mayor, have a ceremonial position, and the city manager actually is behind the scene calling the shots. He's pulling the strings. We need to take his job too, don't we? We need to recall him, because I think that change needs to happen in Ferguson. And I don't think change can wait until the next election cycle, because I think Mayor Knowles just was reelected not that long ago. So I don't think we can wait that long. I think that we need to find out how to do things like this. Change needs to happen now. The town hall meetings, everybody already knows what Ferguson is about. And Mike Brown being murdered doesn't require more talk about what's wrong with Ferguson. We all know what's wrong with Ferguson. It starts at the top. That police chief, he's got to go. He's got to go. I mean, the report that came out when they released the tape of Michael Brown at that store, he says he released it because people were requesting it to be released, like a freedom of information thing. And then some news organization looked that up. Nobody had requested that tape. He released that on his own. So he's a damn liar. Okay, and on something of this magnitude, to lie about something like that, you need to go, man. You need to go. I don't know you personally. Maybe you're a good dude. I don't know. But you bleeped up this situation all to be damned. And whoever made the call for police action to be, you know, military style, I need you to move on too. I need you to move on. Because that didn't require military action. How did the guy for the Missouri Highway Patrol, how did he come in and get peace? He did it just because he was black? No. Well, you know what? At that point, maybe so. Maybe, you know, and here's the deal, is that, you know, the people of Ferguson, black folks in Ferguson, have been wounded so badly over the years, generationally speaking, of the government of Ferguson City keeping their foot on the neck of black folks by just treatment, attitude, that whole thing. I mean, it's documented. People, you could have people speak on this forever, but after a while, I remember the O.J. Simpson case, Judge Ito, they were bringing all these people to impeach Mark Fuhrman for the racist that they claimed he was, but he limited to like 3 people who witnessed racism, in their view, for Mark Furman, because he says any more than that, it would just inflame everything, and it would just turn into the Mark Furman trial. So he limited that. And to me, I think that part of what we got going on here, we know what Ferguson is. That's why people are angered by that. Now there are people who have taken it into a whole nother direction. There was somebody who got robbed in the St. Louis area over the weekend, and they told him after they robbed him, the robber said, "We're doing this in the name of Mike Brown." How dare you, man? How dare you use the name of Mike Brown to do something horrible? How dare you do that? Man, that actually pissed me off. The folks that were looting, you weren't doing that in the name of Mike Brown. You were doing that for a come-up. You used Mike Brown's murder as a come-up. You used the protest as a come-up for yourself. Tell me how you running into that beauty supply store and grabbing bags of weave was for the cause. Did you sell the weave? Because you didn't need that much weave. Did you sell it and with the proceeds going to his family? No. You did it for yourself. You did it as a come-up. I'm just calling it like I see it. I think that's horrible. I think it's horrible. But we're at a point now, to me, and like I said, I respect the town hall meeting. I respect the people who've organized it. I respect the people who go, who participate. I respect all that. I'm just asking the question, are we done with town hall meetings? Because we need to find out how to recall these people, how to make demands that are actually going to have an impact for the community of Ferguson. And to be honest, it's some of the communities around Ferguson. North County, the same. The worst kept secret of St. Louis, for people who've never left St. Louis, is that people don't know how racist the St. Louis area is. When I moved here in 1989, I felt it. I felt the tension in the air. You could feel it, and a lot of people don't know about St. Louis. Like, they don't know. They just don't know the history, and it's been that way, and it's time for it to stop. And speaking of race, I got something to say about that too. All right, just a few minutes left in the show, but I'll be back after this.
Do you want to reach an audience that you haven't tapped into yet and not blow your budget? The Tony Scott Internet Show is new, growing, and available to you. And you don't have to be the third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, yes, or even eighth commercial in a commercial break like on the radio. Advertising on the Tony Scott Internet Show is extremely affordable. Contact us at advertise@TonyScottShow.com.
All right, we are back. The Tony Scott Internet Show is back, about to wrap it up. Don't like to keep that music going for too long because it irritates me. I can only imagine what it does for you. So it's my first show. So I'm as always, I'm trying this is actually like a sample show. Whether or not it gets out, I don't know. Probably, but because I want to get some input and stuff like that. But let's move on as we get ready to wrap up. Attorney General Eric Holder has been called everything from you can imagine to a race baiter. And to me, when people who call Eric Holder had said a few years ago, while he's been Attorney General, that we're a nation of cowards because we won't have productive conversations about race between blacks and whites, or whites and Latinos, or whites and Muslims, or whites or Middle Easterns. We don't have that. And if you bring it up, you're called a race baiter. But nobody wants to bait you in anything. People just want to have a civil discussion. White folks will say, but you want reparations and all that. No. Black folks just want equal footing. That's it. That's all. But you wouldn't know that because you won't have the conversation. Well, they do have equal footing. That's your life. That's your reality. That's how it is for you. That's your experience. But that's not the real world. And from the perspective of African Americans, that it's almost an insult to say that, because that's not their reality. You know, you don't have to worry about getting pulled over by the police because you have a nice car. You don't have to worry about being stopped by the police because you have on a hoodie. You don't have to feel insulted when you're walking down the street and a white lady walking in the opposite direction on the same side of the street crosses the street or all of a sudden takes a bionic hold onto her purse. Do you know how insulting that is? Seriously, that's insulting because, generally speaking, we, as a society, we like to put people in boxes. It's easy to do that. And that's for both sides. I've talked to black folks who have told me they consider every white person they know as racist. Well, that's sad. And you're sad. Because that's not the case. That's not the case. And white folks, not every black male is a thug. Not every black male is out to do evil. Not every black male wants your white daughters. It doesn't work that way. It's just the world is not like that. It's not. It's just not. And you need to open your eyes. You need to open your eyes because until we have this civil conversation between races about race and are willing to admit things on both sides and are willing to work together to try and fix this, we're going to remain a nation of cowards. I mean, we are. That's the absolute truth. I'm going to stop right here. I've gone for half an hour. And like I said, this is like my first show. In a future show, we're going to talk about some fun things, too. We're going to talk about entertainment. We're going to talk about more sports. We're going to talk about pop culture. We're going to talk about relationships. We're going to talk about things like that. And as the show grows, I'm going to work in phone calls, too. And your comments. You can email me at, let me just give you a simple one, Tony@TonyScottMedia.com. I'll set one up for the show. But you can email me there, Facebook.com/TonyScottMedia, Facebook.com/TonyScottOnline. You can search Talkin', TALKIN 360 on Facebook and find another webpage of mine. Website is Talkin360.com, where I do a lot of vlogging and some blogging. And now it appears to be podcasting. I'm basically a one-man show. I produce the videos that you'll see with myself and my friends Mark Clark and Troy Johnson. I've been on Scandal, things like that. And I produce them, I edit them, I put them up, I do that all myself. I'm a one-man show. Some people offer to help, but I can't pay anybody. And people say I'll do it for free. I will never ask anybody to work for free. Even if they said I want to work for free, I would never let you do that. I just don't believe in that. So I think you should be compensated for your efforts. So in time, we'll build it up. But I've enjoyed doing this show with you. Like I said, if you like it, let me know. If you like it, give it a thumbs up on YouTube. And cause it'll be on YouTube. This is audio only. It'll also be on Spreaker. It'll be on iHeartRadio. It'll be a couple other places too. Podbean. Is it Podbean? Yeah, Podbean. So look for it there. I appreciate you listening. And hopefully you can tell people about it. Send them a link. Share it. And I'll talk to you very soon. All right. God bless you all. Thank you.